Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Welcome to my channel. I'm Anthony Ali, your brother in Islam. Please support the channel with a like and a subscription. It costs you nothing, but it does wonders for me and this community that I am trying to build over here. Welcome. Today we're going to be having a discussion on an article that I read, and it was very informative. It was an article I liked very much. So I'm going to be reading it to you guys, giving you guys my perspective, letting you guys know whether or not I can relate to it. And I would like for you to all join me in the conversation. Leave your thoughts, perspective, and comments down below in the comment section. And once again, please support the channel with one like, one subscription. That's all it costs, and that's free. The article is actually by a professor named Liaquat Takim. Excuse me if I'm mistaken, but I believe the brother is from India. He's also a Shia Muslim, alhamdulillah. The article came out from McMaster's University, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. But before we do get into the reading of the article, I would like to plug in a book. This book is called Unlocking Success, a Practical Guide by my brother Hussein Wali Allah. And the reason I am plugging this book in the video, I'm going to be doing it once in every episode that's connected to this article that I'm reading, because I'll be breaking down the article in episodes because it's written in segments. But I want to show my brother some love and some support. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him much success on his endeavor. But yeah, go get the book. I'll be plugging it in every episode, so you guys are going to be seeing it if you tune in. Like and subscribe down bottom. Without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get into some reading. Bear with me, you guys, because we all know reading is brutal, even though I love it. Okay, you guys, here we have it, right? Here we have it. I'm going to be reading and taking my time, too. So, like I said, bear with me, y'all. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Integration or isolation? Black Shiism in the American Diaspora by Liaquat Takim, McMaster's University, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And there's his email if anyone would like to contact him. Without further ado, let's get into the reading. While much has been written regarding the rise and experiences of the African American Muslim community, Western scholarship has paid little attention to the Black Shias of America. This paper will attempt to redress this imbalance. The paper will identify salient features of Black Shiism in America. It will argue that by embracing Shiism, Black Shias move from being a minority in America to becoming a minority within the Black American Muslim and Shia communities. That is so true. That's so true, y'all. I just want y'all to understand that. It's just like a double whammy. This paper will compare and contrast the experiences of the Black Sunni community and its Shia counterpart. It will argue that Black Shias need to forge an identity within and integrate into Shiism without compromising their distinctive Black consciousness. Again, I agree. They will also need to foster an ideology that will distinguish them from other Black American movements. I'm not sure if I can agree with that part, just to be honest, because I don't, as a Shia Muslim, whether I was Black or white, I don't think that has anything to do with specific Black African movements, because as a Shia, I'm a part of Islam. But hey, let's continue with the rest of the article. In a country that claims to be founded on Judeo-Christian values, the experiences of marginal groups within a minority community are often relegated to the margins of religious discourse. The sense of negligence experienced by a marginalized community is exacerbated as it is a subgroup within a minority, Shia Muslims. Just listen to what he's saying. And thus relegated to a double and sometimes triple minority status. This paper will argue that due to their double minority status, American Shias have been more occupied with preserving rather than disseminating their distinctive beliefs and practices. The paper will also demonstrate that due to various factors, there has been an increased number of members of the African American community accepting Twelver Shiism, alhamdulillah. The paper will also provide an insight into understanding the deleterious, the deleterious, the deleterious, okay, the deleterious, I'm sorry, yeah, I couldn't see, the deleterious effects of the multiple levels of minoritiness the Black Shias endure on a regular basis. The article is premised upon my interactions with members of the African American community over a period of 25 years. In addition, I have incorporated the opinions of some Black Shias whom I have recently spoken to. I have also drawn upon a survey that I conducted in 2000. The survey was sent to several Black Shia inmates serving in American incarceration facilities. Understanding the specific history and challenges of any community requires a nuanced and multifarious analysis of its experiences. Unfortunately, studies on the African American Muslim community have focused on Sunni Muslims, neglecting in the process the experiences of the Black Shia community. A dearth of academic analysis of the minority group within the Black American Muslim community has perpetuated ignorance of what it means to be a Black Shia in America. This paper will contend that the academic concentration on Black Sunnism conceals the discrimination and othering that is systemic within the Black Muslim community. Alhamdulillah, that even someone not of the Black Muslim community can understand that as a Black Shia, you're going to get treated as an other within Black Muslim circles. It will also discuss the relationship between the American Shia immigrant community, which needs to be discussed, and Black Shias, and highlights the experience of and challenges confronting Black Shias. Okay, now that's just the opening right there, y'all. Excuse my misspeaks too. I wonder if I can make this a little bigger for me to read it more effectively. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna enhance it a little bit. And now this is where we get to. This is the gist of the video right here. Black Shias in mainstream America. Now the opening was just the opening. I didn't want to skip over it, so I read through it for you guys. But this is where the discussion actually happens. So bear with me. There's a lot of reading, but inshallah, we'll get through it. Black Shias in mainstream America. The early Muslims in America comprised primarily of slaves who were forcibly brought to the American shores from West Africa. As Sylvian Diop has shown in Servants of Allah, these were primarily Sunni Muslims. Names like Ibrahima al-Bilali and Umar ibn Sa'd, which appear on slave registers and anecdotal accounts, clearly identify them as Muslims from Africa. There is no record of any of the slaves having espoused Shiism, because the Shias had not made inroads into the Western African Muslim community. On that point, that's something I would have to look into. So for the time being, I will disagree. Because it's kind of hard to believe that as Sunnis are spreading, as they are doing their dawah across the globe, that the people who believe in the walaya of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the Shi'is, would not be doing the same thing. Um, I couldn't have a deeper discussion about Shi'is and our dawah because I know a lot of people wonder why Shias don't do dawah. But you would just have to read more, is what I would say about that. But let's continue. As I have argued elsewhere, the early Sikh migrants probably arrived in America toward the end of the 19th century. Most of them were of Lebanese origin who accompanied their Sunni brethren. By the beginning of the 12th century, they had established themselves in major American cities like Detroit, Michigan, and New York City. In most instances, they came searching for employment opportunities and later decided to make America their permanent abode. Even though their arrival in America can be traced to the early 1900s, the early Shia immigrants were concerned primarily with immersion in American society and improving their socio-economic status. Hence, American Shiism constituted a largely peripheral and unknown phenomenon in the American religious landscape. Verily, very few mosques were built by the Shia community. Very few mosques were built by the Shia community. Um, what I would say on that note is I took my shahada in a Shia mosque in my hometown. I love that masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the brothers of that masjid, the imam, and the masjid itself. But being where I am now, there's no Shia masjid in this city. So I'm having a debate within myself whether or not I should start a campaign to raise money to build a masjid here, to get a resident scholar here for us to, pay for his needs and things like that. But something I might look into the future, but it's been on my mind. But let's continue. Very few mosques were built by the Shia community, and there's very little evidence to suggest that they were either politically active or engaged in any proselytization activities. As a matter of fact, up to the 1960s, Islam in the Black community was dominated and promulgated primarily by Black movements like the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, and the Five Percenters. The lack of socio-political activism by the early Shiis can be discerned from the fact that it was the Arab American Sunni communities that were politically and socially engaged. They created various organizations to further political aims. For example, in 1971, Lebanese Americans organized the National Association of Arab Americans, the NAAA, to educate Arab Americans about the local political process and make them aware of the issues that impacted the Muslim community. Similarly, the Arab American Institute, AAI, was established in 1984 by James Zogby to encourage Arab Americans to participate in the American political system and to run for office. Even though they had been residing in America for over 50 years, Shias chose political disengagement and quietism. Hence, Shiism remained a largely unknown and peripheral sect of Islam until the later part of the 20th century. Although it is difficult to estimate exact numbers, the Shia community in America has increased considerably since the 1970s. Various social, political, and economic factors in the Muslim and non-Muslim world contributed to the immigration of Shias to the American shores. Most Shia centers of worship in America were built after the arrival of immigrants in the 1980s, even when they abandoned Black Islamic movements like the Moorish Science Temple and the Nation of Islam. the Muslim black community turned to Sunni rather than Shia Islam. And that's interesting. Like, 'cause I can relate to this part of the article also, because the way I came into Islam was basically I used to study the Moorish Science Temple, and they profess to they claim to be Muslims. But when I opened the real Quran and not just what they were teaching, I was led away from the Moorish Science Temple into real Islam. And I started off, learning how to pray and everything as a Sunni, but I kept reading and I kept watching debates, and then I got deeper into the Prophet's family, peace be upon them all. And I accepted Shia Islam. I never took my Shahada as a Sunni. When I took my Shahada, it was as a Shia in a Shia mosque. And it was a conscious decision. The Imam even asked me, do you understand that this is a Shia mosque and you're taking your Shahada as a Shia? And I'm like, yes, this is what I chose. But alhamdulillah, my belief now is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose me for Shia Islam. And where do we stop off, guys? I know I'm a little in. Yes. Even after they abandoned movements like the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Nation of Islam, the Muslim black community turned to Sunni rather than Shia Islam. This occurred more specifically after Elijah Muhammad died. In 1975, his son, Worth Deen Muhammad, who was influenced by Saudi Arabia, claimed that his father's teachings on Islam were distorted and had been intended to attract and appease the black community towards his version of Islam. I 100% agree, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve Worth Deen Muhammad and reward him for what he did in leading so many African Americans out of the Nation of Islam, which is a man-worshipping cult, if you ask me, into traditional Islam, be it Sunni Islam. I don't have an issue with that at all. They don't worship a man, Father Muhammad, and they don't see Elijah Muhammad as a prophet of God or the Bala. But as I continue, when he abandoned his father's teachings, Worth Deen Muhammad directed his followers to Sunnism, which in his view was the normative and correct rendition of Islam. Due to the Wahhabi attacks on Shiism, Shias were neither invited nor welcome to join in his nascent movement, which is a bummer. But hey, Allah plans and man plans. So there were, however, a few exceptions. Abbas Agdassi, I hope I pronounced that correct, brother, quotes an unnamed senior African-American Shia in New York City who recalls meeting someone in the 1970s who gifted him a copy of the Nahj al-Balagha. The Nahj al-Balagha, one of the first books I read as a Shia. After reading the book, he decided to transition from Nation of Islam to Shia Islam. He recalls other members of the nation following him to Shiism. Up to the 1970s, she was neither visible nor a part of the American religious landscape, which is a tragedy. And I don't know how true that is too, but this brother is a professor who was given this article, so I'm not going to disagree with him on that one either. I'll just do my research on it. Since most Black Muslims were not aware of the presence of the Shia community in America and the differences that separated them from Sunnis, most of them chose to accept Sunni Islam. Agdassi states that even in 2015, it was not possible to locate a solid network of Black Shias, even in 2025. As I'm talking to you here and now, I've been trying to locate or establish a network of African American Shias to learn together, to build together, to celebrate Eids together, to introduce each other, to each other's families, to build. It was only after the Iranian Revolution in 1979 that the American Black community became aware of and was attracted to Shiism. Since then, Iran has emerged as a significant contributor to the growth of Black Shiism in America. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect and preserve Iran. This can be discerned from the fact that in the last 20 years, numerous preachers have emerged within the Black Shia community. Almost all of them have been trained and then graduated from the religious seminaries in Qom, Iran. Many of these preachers now actively serve in Shia centers of worship. Some of them had earlier joined an Islamic seminary in the city of Medina. Interesting. New York. That's funny. Which was run by Sheikh Mukhtar Fazi, a Shia scholar. After graduating, some of the students continued their studies in seminary in Iran. To date, the American media has completely ignored the challenges encountered by the Black Shias. Their sense of isolation is enhanced by the fact that Black Shias are seen as deviants by the Black Sunni community with the acceptance of Shiism. In addition, they are marginalized and ignored by the immigrant Shia community, which is largely drawn along ethnic lines. I want to touch on that one so bad, but now is not the time to touch on that one. Our brothers are our brothers and our sisters are our sisters. And the fact that we still separate ourselves, even within this beautiful religion of Islam, we separate ourselves on ethnic lines, is a horrible thing, and it's un-Islamic, if you ask me. Does Black Shias face the challenges of negotiating and asserting a Black Muslim and Shia identity in a socio-cultural milieu that is conjoined to the dominant society's stigmatization of Islam, which is so true? All Blacks, Muslims or otherwise, are confronted with challenges like higher rate of unemployment, poverty, police shootings, gun violence, drug abuse, and mass incarceration. In addition, especially after the events of 9/11, Black Muslims have had to endure the added challenges of Islamophobia, which the Muslims can be described as the folk devil. I'm kind of sitting on this last line right here. Islamophobia, which for Muslims had been described as the folk devil. Moving on. Par excellence of the postmodern age, Black Shias, however, have additional forms of discrimination, especially from members of the Black Muslim community. This is because Shia Islam has been labeled a deviant sect within the Muslim community. By the 1980s, the Wahhabis had established many mosques in various American cities. In the Friday sermon and lectures, the religious leaders denounced Shiism as a heretical sect, which they claimed was started by an estranged Jew. And as I said earlier, there's no Shia masjid in the city that I'm in right now. One day, one Jummah, I got up and I went to a masjid out here. I picked it because I looked online, looked up some of the pictures, seen there was a lot of brothers there, a lot of African Americans there. I went. And the speaker, I don't know if they assumed I was Shia or something else because I'd never been to that masjid before. But the speaker, the guy giving the khutbah, he was speaking and he was just going in. He's like, we speak against Shias, we speak against Sufis, we speak against da, we speak against da. And I'm just looking around and waiting for him to talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So needless to say, I never went back. So gradually, but surely those blacks who dared to embrace Shiism frequently became alienated from their families, friends, and former co-religionists. This this encountered discrimination and marginalization from different sectors of American society. The multiple identities held and challenges encountered suggest that racism constitutes but not one type of numerous form of oppression. That is true. That Black Shi's encounter the, the intersection of race, religion, ethnicity, and sect enhanced oppression. They reveal a complexity and discriminatory targeting of the other. Black Shi's position of multiple axis of minorityness engenders an interlocking system of oppression within the larger matrix of domination. The cumulative effect of Black Shiism is debilitating. Whew. Alhamdulillah. May y'all forgive me for the hiccups there. I'm a little tired, but that was the first part of the article. I would suggest you guys go look up the article yourself and go and read through that first part again. But I want you guys to join the conversation and let me know, do you feel like this professor was on? Was he speaking truth within this article? Because I feel 80%, 85% of the things that I just read to you guys, I can actually relate to as an African American Shia Muslim. But some of the things I don't have knowledge on, I haven't looked into, so I really can't disagree or agree. So may you guys help me in the comments and let me know. But until the next time, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please support the channel with a like and a subscription. That's all it costs. We're not asking for any money. Once again, get the brother's book, Unlocking Success, A Practical Guide by Hussein Wali Allah. May Allah give my brother success in his endeavors. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until the next time, you guys. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali